For all of your insurance needs, look no further than our primary sponsor, Jim Saxton State Farm Insurance Agency. The ATX OG has been insuring Austin for over 3 decades. And get this, Jim Saxton is a Longhorn legacy. He is the son of the late, great James Saxton, who was a Heisman finalist. Be sure to give him a call, or better yet, visit his website, saxtoninsurance.com, and tell him that the stories inside the Man Cave Boys recommended you.
Wake your ass up
or take a damn nap.
And we're the 3 best friends that anybody could have.
It's time.
Sean, you were twerking. That's going to happen.
Murph, don't be a dick all your life.
It's one of the more fun podcasts I've ever done.
Hey, I tell you what, if you're not talking about sports in the man cave, I bet not say you got a bed.
That's it.
Hey, it's taken a little bit of time, but this is one guy who it's been fun to watch his coaching career. I know we're past college basketball, but I think Steve Lutz will tell you college basketball is a year-round game. Am I fairly accurate in saying that?
Yeah, coaches have created a little bit of a monster, to be honest with you. Like, you used to get off May and June, and now we're recruiting 2 weekends in June, 2 weekends in July. Yeah, it's interesting how this thing has evolved. There's no questions about it.
So before we move forward, got to give love to the people who make this happen. Honest AC and Plumbing, they're basically North Austin and the suburbs. Their mantra or their belief is they believe in the handshake, meaning, hey, what they're promising, you can trust them. And right now it's probably a good time because we've already hit triple digits once. And we all know you live in Texas. That's a norm for about 3 months. So give Honest AC and Plumbing a call if you live in the Central Texas area. Now, I'm going to show a piece of video that the reason why, not only because Steve has been a respected member of the college basketball coaching fraternity, he did something that not many have and got to experience something special in his first year down in Corpus Christi. All right, first season, your first head coaching opportunity at the D1 level. Texas A&M Corpus Christi, a member of the Southland Conference. It was pretty special because I did watch how you guys started off the season fairly quick. And what was the secret sauce? I mean, because you guys made it happen, and you get into that conference tournament and made the magic happen.
Oh, I don't know that there's a secret sauce. We had really good players. That is always the biggest key to you having success.
Right.
We took the largest number of transfers in the country, or, we were tied for it, however you want to split it. But we took a lot of junior college transfers. We took a couple Division I transfers. And, when we started it all, we just said, hey, we need to make sure that we have guys that can pass, handle, and shoot the ball. But more importantly, that just weren't knuckleheads, guys that had gotten in trouble other places, guys that we felt like were good people and that we'd have fun with. And, we started the season and we got some road wins early and got a little confidence. And that just, it helped us continue as we headed, into league play. But like with anything else, I mean, you're going to stumble along the way, whether it's life, whether it's your season. And we got in a situation where we lost 5 in a row and we had to right the ship. But I attest all that back to just taking good people and obviously them being good players.
Now, for those of you who are watching from other parts of the country, there are quite a few Division I programs in this great state of Texas. How Steve and I crossed paths. He was an assistant under Danny Casper at Stephen F. Austin. There were, you guys had a great coaching staff. And Would that the recruiting pattern that you just talked about, recruiting good kids from junior college or just transfers, was that kind of the similar path taken when you were at Stephen F? Because you guys were the ones who got that program rolling to what it is today.
Yeah, there's no questions. It's the same value system, same core values that I've been with, or that I've had with pretty much every coach I've ever worked for. The tough part, like when we take over Stephen F. Austin in 2000, is you could only take. There used to be an 8 and 5 rule where you couldn't take more than 8 new players in a 2-year period, and there's all these crazy NCAA rules. Well, you think about 2000 versus 2021. Now these kids can do whatever the hell they want. They want to transfer from A to B to C. They get to go, and there's no repercussions. So, selfishly and luckily for me, when we got here, that rule wasn't in effect. So we brought in an entire new team. I think when I got hired, maybe 7 guys were in the transfer portal from the previous staff. Wow. And, a couple of them, maybe I didn't want back. A couple of them academically weren't doing what they needed to be and saw themselves out the door that way. But long story short is, man, I walked in and told them all, I'd love for you to stay, but if you don't want to be here, go ahead and leave. And I tell the same thing to our guys we currently have. At the end of the year, I got them all in. I go, listen, you have till Friday to tell me if you're transferring. I said, it's cool one way or another. I love all of you, but that's the world we live in. So, you're never going to sacrifice whether you coach at Texas A&M Corpus or you coach at Texas. You're never going to sacrifice in the character department in order, if you want to win, in my opinion, at the highest levels.
So, Steve, brought a good point. He experienced a ton of success as well as an assistant at Purdue, and because you mentioned, along the way, you do mimic and find what's successful with every coaching staff you're a part of. But I know it's always special when you go to the NCAA tournament. But when we see, as Texans, we see Corpus Christi as this elaborate beach community on the bay. But when did you realize that, okay, Corpus Christi can be a special place for college basketball? Because I know it's hard anywhere to get or create a basketball culture.
Well, I mean, Corpus Christi and Port Aransas, when I was growing up, that was vacation for my family. So I had spent a decent amount of time down here, just growing up through the years. Like, we would come fishing at least once a year with my dad. That was something that he really liked to do. So I've always, having had been a member of the Southland Conference years before, I'd always just maintained contact with everything that's happening in the state, right? And, I saw Ronnie Arrow get them there in 2007, and then Coach Wilson had good success a few years while he was here. And then really when you talk with Dr. Miller, Kelly Miller, who's our president, and you talk with John Palumbo, who's our athletic director, and you listen to their vision, and you start talking through the resources that we do have here financially and those sorts of things, it was a no-brainer. I'd wanted to be a head coach for a long time,
right,
but I had, I'd also been very picky and choosy about it. Obviously leaving the Purdue team, who was number 1 in the country at certain points during this year, that was tough, but it's life. You gotta bet on yourself. You got to believe in yourself, and then you got to go work really, really hard to achieve your goals. And luckily it all came together for us.
No, it was fun to watch. It really was. And then, of course, the success you had on that staff at Purdue was fun to watch as well. I know that was just a few years, but you were, like you said, waiting for that great opportunity. And so I had to ask, because we weren't there, what was it like in Corpus during that week when, people started to figure out, wait a minute, they're in the championship game to win that automatic berth. Did you all of it? And bandwagoner fans, they're everywhere. Every program has them. But what was it like there on the island or in Corpus?
It's funny. It's hard to say because we're in Katy. That's where our conference tournament was, right? But with that being said, I mean, you have your loyal fans that have always come to the conference tournament, but you had, another couple hundred people that they were like, hey, we're in the championship. We got a chance to go to the NCAA tournament, and we're going to come in for the championship game. But then, like, they would have watch parties back in Corpus at several of the bars and restaurants and those sorts of things. So, people were really excited. I mean, I don't know how you feel, but like, to me, Corpus is like a hidden gem.
It is.
I mean, it's beautiful. You have the beach here. You've got a lot of industry here with the city and the port of Corpus Christi. I mean, why people haven't and I shouldn't say why, because they are, why people just haven't realized this and it just exploded is beyond me. But, luckily we were able to do well, go to the NCAA tournament. And I think that a lot of the world was able to see Corpus Christi for what it is. And man, I whether you're in business or whether you're coaching basketball or track or whatever, I think it's a wonderful, wonderful place.
No, Corpus, I know you and I can relate with the Port Aransas spring break back in our younger years when we both had hair. Great times, I'm not ashamed of anything that happened in Port Aransas. But I always thought, wow, when you're traveling across that bridge, I'm a Rockport guy, but I do love Corpus Christi. But when you cross over that bridge, it's just this special glow. And then relative to what you're saying, that beautiful arena that you guys play in, I just feel like as far as mid-major basketball, and I guess you could elaborate more on that, is it a wait and see for that community? Because you have everything in place that you could create a sustainable mid-major successful program.
Oh, there's no question that it can be, I mean, the pride of Southern Texas. I mean, really, there's only two universities Division I wise that are down this direction. And one is Rio Grande Valley, obviously. Yeah. And then the other is us. And so what I always say within the city is, our basketball team is very representative of the culture and the people down here. I mean, we're hardworking, we play hard, defensively, we get after you, we're aggressive. And when things don't go our way, I mean, we continue to fight through the adversity. And I think that the people here in this area, that resonates with people, or it should resonate with people. But then even more importantly, if you're wanting to expose your children to Division I college athletics, man, they can have, I mean, I don't want to say complete access, but they absolutely can get to know the players. It's not like Power 5 institutions, right, where it's really hard to get to the star players. Like here, if you come to the game, after the game, every one of our guys is going to walk around the bottom tier of the arena, and they're going to shake your hand or fist pump you or high five you. And, when I was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, that would have meant the world to me. And you have that. Yeah, I know you have that at your fingertips, and it's a relatively inexpensive ticket. I mean, it's not a $200 ticket a night. It's just not, so there's no reason not to do it. It's cheap, family fun, but you're exposing your child to the ups and downs of college athletics, and also just kind of teaching them what, hard work looks like, whether you want to be a high school or a middle school or a college athlete. I mean, this is a great exposure for those young people.
I agree. I think there's some coaches that say we want people to feel us, touch us, and that means them being an actual part of the community. And it is a Division I program. Now, one thing I've noticed about you've become really talented at the social media game. And that's part of our world right now, whether people like it or not, because that's where everyone is. And for the young people, that's what it is. Is it safe to say the recruiting response from this season and the increased followers that you guys have gained as far as the Islander brand, it has been off the charts in the last 3 or 4 months?
Oh, absolutely. Like our president, she has all the statistics, but I think in the days leading up to the NCAA tournament, I think our our clicks on A&M Corpus, the university, the athletic program, the basketball program, I think over that 3 to 4 day period, it doubled what would happen the entire year.
Wow.
And they say that, once you go to the NCAA tournament and those sorts of things, that the next 2 to 3 years is when you notice your enrollment increase. And so I would have to think that that's, on the horizon, because again, what other university can you go to where your campus is on its own island? I mean, it's very safe. There's only one entrance in. You're surrounded by water. You have 250 plus days of sunshine a year. I don't know. I can't think of another. And no one has pointed out another one to me thus far either.
You mentioned 250 days of sunshine. That's got to be great for your wife and your family, because it's tropical paradise almost. Your family, I got to know your better half and you when you guys were at Stephen F. Austin, and then obviously your daughters. You have 2 daughters, correct?
Yep.
They how are they acclimating to it all?
Oh, great. I mean, my oldest daughter just finished her first year playing soccer at SIU Edwardsville, and
Indiana.
She's here for the summer. Yeah, she's here for the summer, and she has an internship downtown and all that. And then my younger daughter, I mean, she's playing soccer and basketball, and then my little guy, I mean, he's 9 years old, so he can go anywhere. But especially my middle daughter, she really likes the beach, wants to learn to surf. She does the paddle boarding, all that kind of stuff. So, I would assume that she's going to enjoy the heck out of her summer when she's not working.
100%.
Yeah. So it's a really, last year they didn't even move here until August. So this is kind of summer for them to get out and enjoy it and have a little more fun.
So we've gotten to know the Lutz family and the first year success at Corpus. I've got to ask, what's next? What's next? I mean, a coach's least favorite question. What's next for this program?
Oh, shoot, we want to run it back. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you've known me long enough to know that I'm not a big fan of second place. But to be honest with you, we finished 7-7 in our league. So we went to the NCAA tournament. We won 3 games in March that got us there, but we didn't win the league. So, our goals are always the same. You want to win the league, you want to win the tournament, you want to go to the NCAA tournament and win some games. So that's not going to change, but I think that it's really hard no matter what league you're in to win your league. And that's my burning desire, is to win the league and then obviously repeat, come tournament time and get to the NCAAs. But, I want to get outside that play-in game as well. I mean, it's awesome to play in Dayton, and, we were the first game for the NCAA tournament this year. So that was tremendous. But the truth of the matter is you want to get to the next game, right? And then see where you can go from there.
And that's the truth, and it's always, it's easy to say, hey, look, we want to win X amount of games, but I do know you. And I guess you could relate to Ricky Bobby and Talladega Nights. What is that? If you ain't first, you're last.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of mentality?
Yeah, that's shit. Every one of the coaches at every university thinks the same thing, man.
Hey, I don't know if there's any better segue. Well, there is not a good segue, but I got to give a shout out to one of our sponsors. It makes some people uncomfortable, but we got to do it. All right, Steve. It's not something that's been something overnight evolution of men and grooming or whatnot, but I think these guys are genius. Manscaped.com. They have I love using this word, a plethora of products. And the latest, they call it the Ultra Smooth Package. Now, I've tried all their products. I use them all. But this latest one, it's like a trio, the Crop Exfoliator. It's excellent. It's an exfoliant for the genital region. If I don't tell you, Jen will tell you. It's the shaving gel, and then a mini razor, because you don't need a big axe to take care of what's below the belt. And what I have to say is I think all of our significant others in our lives would prefer us not to have a German Black Forest below the belt.
Hey,
Can you endorse that statement?
there's never an easy segue into any of that conversation, but that's impressive. You knocked that one out of the park. I was
Boom.
now and look at me, I just look awful. But Manscaped, do they need to get into some of the facial grooming too? That's where I need them.
I'm glad you brought that up. They do have now things for grooming products above the neck. I have those, and I'm using the gel and the deodorant. I like to say that each of these products, they smell like sweet mahogany and pheromones.
Okay.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. Manscaped, look me up, man. I need a shave, brother.
Yeah, Coach Steve Lutz, the NCAA tournament appearance coach for the Islanders, led the Islanders. Manscaped.com. Hook a brother up in Corpus Christi. But for those of you who are interested, Manscaped.com, use this bad boy, this promo code, ManCave20, all one word, for 20% off of your order there. So this is one of my favorite. It is one of the best segments on here. How we end our first segment. The Man Cave story is brought to you by Jim Saxton State Farm Insurance Agency. There have been some classics and Hall of Fame like Man Cave stories. These could be a story that you love telling when you get together at a coaching convention or even at your dinner table or with your buddies. Anywhere that you, it always circles back to this one story. Is there one of those that you may have?
Oh shoot, I'm gonna give you a good one. And all your Austin area people will like this one. So it's it's a summer of 1995, graduate college in May. Start working in June at a place called Incarnate Word, University of Incarnate Word. Back then it was Incarnate Word College. So your current head coach of the beloved Longhorns, Chris Beard, and I are both hired as the graduate assistant coaches at Incarnate Word. And so we roll into work first day, working for the man that you referred to earlier, Danny Casper. So we walk in at 8:00, khaki shorts pressed, got you a polo shirt on, got Beard had a little briefcase. I didn't have all that. He was more advanced than I was. And so we're walking in, we're waiting in the office. There's like 8 of us in a 10 by 20 foot space. I mean, the SID, the soccer coaches, it was crazy. Long story short, Coach Casper walks in about 9 a.m. and we're like, hey man, let's go. We're going to go get Kevin Durant to come to Incarnate Word. He says, hey, you guys come with me. And so we're like, all right, whatever. We walk across the gym to the back of the gym, which is where the locker room is. And there stands 2 5-gallon buckets, paintbrushes, rollers, paint pans, rags, everything you need to paint. And coach goes, hey, this is our locker room. You guys need to repaint the locker room. And obviously whether Beard knew how to paint or not, I don't know, but I knew enough to be like, man, this sucks. Right. And he goes, hey, when it gets to be about lunchtime, y'all come find me in the office. We'll go get a bite to eat. And we're like, okay. I mean, there's no cell phones back then. I think the second day we brought like a little radio, but we painted the locker room for, I don't know, however many days it took, a week. And that was our first job. And so that was kind of, I don't know, I don't say a rude awakening, but that was, my introduction into college athletics. Like you're not going to have everything you need, and you can bitch and moan and say, right, hey, this stinks, I need more, or you can go out and do it yourself. And, I think that has certainly shaped me, as a coach. I absolutely had a lot of that already instilled in me just because of my mom and dad and
right.
I grew up. But, you look at my track in coaching, you look at Beard's track in coaching, and both of us have just kind of bet on ourselves and figured out a way to win, a lot of times winning, more with less. And I don't know, I personally like people like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it certainly opened my eyes to my job the first day at Incarnate Word.
That's amazing, because when you think about it, a lot of people don't realize. They think grad assistant, oh, you're just looking at film, or you're expediting certain things like in recruiting. But no, just like any entry level, there's some grunt work. I didn't know that.
Oh, heck yeah. Like, so Beard, he made $3,600 in free school and lived in a 10 by 10 apartment. I slid a mattress underneath his bed for nights that I didn't go home. We worked too late, or, whatever. Went out and had beer after work. He lived maybe a mile from campus, but I lived with my parents. I made $2,000 for 10 months, which came out to $186.14 a month after taxes. I lived with my parents, and then I paid for my grad school. So grad school cost me like $4,000. Incarnate Word's a private school.
Yeah.
And then I worked in the bar Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday, 11 to 6. And I did that anytime I could and all summer long. And, you'd get out of the bar at 2 or 3 in the morning, then you'd have camp the next morning at 8 o'clock, and have to be there at 6:30. So That's just the way, life was. I didn't know any better. I didn't have any money. So that's what I did to make ends meet.
Where was this said bar? Is it still there?
No, it is the Bill and Sachi Layton owned a place called Bombay Bicycle Club, which there's one right by Incarnate Word. And that's the old one on Mulberry, or on St. Mary's. But the one I worked at was at the medical center. And so I drive out to the medical center and I worked there. Myself, the head basketball coach at Trinity University, Charlie Brock. Wayne was a football coach at Trinity. And I think that was the only 3 coaches. But yeah, that's what we did all summer.
That's awesome. But you know what? I'm not going to say a certain generation or any young people. A lot of people hear this and they're like, I don't want any part of that. But that's the part that successful people, if you look at where they've gone and how they reach where they are now, it required things such as that.
No question. I just had this conversation with my oldest daughter, who has an internship here, and we thought it was going to be 8 to 5, and it's 8 to noon. And she's like, not angry. Yeah, she's angry, I guess. I don't know, however you want to say it. And I'm like, who cares? Yeah. You work 8 to noon, go get you a job at the restaurant, the bar from 4 till 10 or 11, and you'll make double the money. Yeah. I go, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's easy. It's flexible.
For sure, man. Yeah.
You and I could write a book about all the jobs we held to try to make ends meet when we were young, try to reach that goal in life.
No questions. No questions. All these people that are above making $13, $14 an hour at McDonald's just blow my mind. Like I just blow my mind. I tell our GAs the same thing. I go, hey man, you got to work in a bar. You got to go to a warehouse, make as much money as you can for 3 to 4 months so that you don't have to worry about it during the year.
Yeah. It's a short sacrifice.
Yeah.
Make it work, because before you know it, you'll have a full-time gig with benefits.
With benefits and yes.
And your own bedroom.
Yep.
Hey, Lutzy, we're going to take a quick break, but on the other side, I'm going to get your take on the current NBA playoff situation. There's one Texas team they're surviving, but I don't know if they have the 2017 Golden State Warriors in them to beat the current Golden State. I'll get your take on that, and plus some other things, college sports related, and that's coming up on the other side of this break. Part of the foundation of Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast is to keep it local. Stay true to our roots, including Farmhouse Delivery. Yes, they are an ATX-based company which sources fresh Texas-grown produce and fresh Texas meats. But the best part about it is you can have them delivered to your doorstep. It's pretty simple. Log on to their website, farmhousedelivery.com. Fill your cart with meats, meal kits, fresh grown produce, and at the end of your order, be sure to enter the promo code MANCAVE. And the best part about that, you get 20% off of your first order. Farmhouse Delivery, the ideal New Year's resolution.
This is JJ Gotch, CEO of the Austin Gamblers. And segment 2 of Stories Inside the Man Cave is next.
I don't think it's fatigue, Sometimes at some point in the game, you're going to be fatigued. But I don't think so, I think the rebounds, the second chance points are a big problem in this series.
All right, so there you go. The Dallas Mavericks, as the Steve Lutz, has a beautiful new background. Looks comfortable. Looks very comfortable. They were down 3-0, and that was Luka after that Game 3 loss. And they just won Game 4 last night to make it 3-1. So if you remember, I'm a big Thunder guy, and my heart is still broken from that 2017 Western Conference Finals when they were up 3-1, and then Golden State went off and won 4 straight. Do the Mavericks have, in your opinion, yet they can win 4 straight against Golden State to go to the NBA Finals?
Boy, Sean, I don't know about that. Obviously, I was really excited that they won last night.
Right,
and,
I was too.
Yeah, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong. We're going back to Golden State. It's 2-2, 1-1-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so you're down 3-1. You got to go to Golden State. Boy, I think it's going to be really hard. But I mean, you don't make it this far if you're not a good team. You don't have some substance to you. I just like the Mavs because they've just got such a blended roster, right?
Yeah.
They've got some journeymen. They've got some internationals. I really like what Jason Kidd has done with that roster this year, but I don't know if they got enough. You got to be able to, probably score 125 points to beat Golden State at Golden State. Just being honest.
Yeah, well, honesty is the only way. I mean, Curry's still Curry. You still have that team. I mean, it's pretty amazing what that organization has been able to do to sustain in this modern NBA. I know they crossed the Bay Area with a new arena, and they're still the same Warriors. God, I'm not going to lie. I usually don't allow things to bother me, but 2017 is still one of my least favorite sports years in history because after that, that's when the Thunder started brick by brick, started falling apart.
I gotcha.
I'm still torn. But when you look at this NBA Final Four, on the other side, you've got the Celtics and I believe Miami. Miami's another franchise which seems to make themselves relevant. Boston just has the history. But what do you like about those two, and who do you ultimately see meeting? I mean, we could probably go ahead and pencil in Golden State from the West.
Right.
But from the East, I mean, to me, it looks like old school kind of physical Eastern Conference kind of basketball.
Well, I mean, Miami, that's what they're built on, and I know that Eric Spoelstra, he has the slick back hair and he looks kind of California, but he's by far the most physical, aggressive, hard playing, fouling, rebounding team. Their team is. I love what they do. I think that I tend to always go when you get into the playoffs and you get into the NCAA tournament, I tend to gravitate towards the best offensive teams getting there.
Yes.
Miami's the outlier. I think they're grimy enough to, shut down Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But when Jason Tatum hasn't going, he's as good as anybody in the league. So
yeah,
I don't know that I'm giving you a good answer other than
it is.
I'd probably tell you Golden State and Miami in the finals, Golden State to win it.
I like that. When in doubt, go with the West, with the current state of the West.
Well, what's the best predictor of the future? The past.
100%. Yes. I mean, we're talking about the past. If this is what you're alluding to, I go back to Magic and Kareem and those Laker teams of the old West.
Okay.
That's a good prediction for me. I'll take the West all day. And then Greg Popovich's San Antonio Spurs, the way he coached. And hey, they're on their way back, I think.
Yeah, I just talked to Dave Tellup the other day. He's probably the assistant GM, or he might even be the GM now, because I don't know what RC's title is. And he told me they're going to win the lottery. And I said, all right, man, let's do it. Let's do it.
You saw who got number 2, the Thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they've got 3,000 picks stockpiled.
Yeah.
I don't know how you manage those. I mean, it's a good problem to have.
Right.
For you, I definitely want your take on this because my love is college sports, mainly college basketball, football, and baseball. I care about it, and I care about it improving because in some ways, college basketball and football is more lucrative in some ways than the professional version. In some ways.
Mm-hmm.
So when you add NIL, name, image, and likeness to the picture, which is a significant gray area right now, as a head coach of a Division I program, and I know you have to cautiously navigate through this, and I respect that. How is this changing the game, not only for recruiting, but for the overall health of college basketball?
I'd say first and foremost, I'm all about these guys making as
Yeah.
much money as they can. I mean, the universities, the NCAA, we've all benefited from their name, image, and likeness. So, part of me says, guys, I want you to make as much as you can, be as happy as you can, especially those that don't come from much.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I think that NIL makes it really, really hard to have a team because you have, let's just say you have one or two guys that are making a good amount of money.
Yeah.
Right. Well, players 8, 9, and 10, or 8 through 13, especially though 8, 9, and 10, who still play significant minutes and might be as integral to your overall record, they're not making as much.
Right.
And so when those, let's just say that you and the leading scorer go out, and the leading scorer is making Nigel Pack. He's making $450,000, and he takes number 9, the backup off guard, with him to dinner, and they go to Five Guys. Well, is Nigel Pack buying his dinner? Like, if he doesn't, I think that's not fair. Right? Like, we all got to benefit from this. So all of our success is going to allow all of us to breed more success and get more opportunities and all that. But I don't know, man, how do you do that? I think it's just really hard. I think it's really hard if you have somebody driving around campus in a BMW and you're hopping on the bus to get you from one end to the other. I think that you're going to have a lot of really good people with a lot of character, and you're going to have to manage a lot as a coach and as a staff to make all of that work.
I agree, and I enjoy hearing your perspective as a head coach because it is forever going to be a part. And I would love to be a fly on the wall in conversations for recruiting visits because it surely comes up every time. The thing that I enjoy about this O'Bannon's case that I hate, well, this piece I hate about it because he was bold to challenge the NCAA. It just took forever for this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And now this generation is enjoying the fruits of his labor because all these video games and the likeness, we all know that they were programmed to be that current player. That's what it stemmed from. But now you look at it's a wild, wild west. And the NCAA now, who never stood up for the right reasons, this is me speaking, this does not represent Steve Lutz in any fashion at all. I've been anti-NCAA in its form recently until the NIL was implemented. So having said that, I think it's deserving, but now you need some regulation. Where are the rules and stipulations and the boundaries? And I don't know where you go. Do you have conversations with boosters, charitable nonprofit organizations like 5013Cs who set these up? Because you do have those with the student athletes where they have to make appearances for nonprofits in exchange for paid appearances, so to speak, in social media. So how do you classify what is what? That would be my question.
Yeah, and I think that the federal government's going to have to get involved here quickly because are they really non-for-profits? And when you have boosters that are giving money to those. If they're not non-for-profits, then they can't get the tax write-off.
Right.
Therefore, now you have tax implications, right? Man, I don't know where they're going with it all.
Yeah.
It's somebody's going to have to take the bull by the horns. And I don't know that you're ever going to be able to level the playing field, right? Because the Power Fives versus the mid majors and the low majors, it's night and day what the Power Fives have, or Group of Six, whatever the heck you want to call them. But if you don't, somebody doesn't take this bull by the horns, and somebody doesn't get it regulated, or at least have some consistency, man, you're just going to continue to widen the gap.
Yeah.
And, it's going to really hurt some of the smaller schools like an A&M Corpus.
Yeah, I see that. By the same token, though, I will say that there are two friends of mine, and I'll just, and one in particular who does it the right way. His business, he offers student athletes opportunities to develop their brand, to utilize on apparel, anything like that, and to promote it on social media where it's not nonprofit, and they get a cut of the sales, so to speak.
Yeah,
I think that's legitimate. I think that
I do too. But so let me put it to you this way. And again, I want them to make as much money as they can. But think about the typical day: 8 to noon, go to class, eat, practice. Let's just say 1 to 2:30, 3 o'clock, 1 to 3:30, lift, eat, go to study hall. Okay, so now we're talking 8, 9, maybe 10 o'clock at night. So when do you really have time to do this? If you're a legitimate athlete, and then you talk about the guys that get up at 6 in the morning and shoot, and ultimately, if you're really good, if you're really going to be good, you got to rest.
Yeah,
if you're not getting your 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night, then man, you're not going to function at the highest level. So I think it's really hard. It's not a professional sport. In the NBA, you go from, I don't know, let's just say 8 till 1 or 2 in the afternoon. In the off season and before games, you don't have anything the rest of the day. So I get it. You can enterprise and you can make money, but as a college athlete, I think it's really hard.
Yeah, and I agree. And I love that perspective. And those who are either watching from the state of Texas or across the country, this is what head coaches and coaching staffs have to, that's their concern. They are at your university to compete and get an education. Where do they fit in the time, invest time into being a part or contributing to a business which will generate an income for the student athletes? You mentioned the mid-majors. So I think we both understand the love for mid-majors. I think the growth of mid-majors, how would you describe the overall growth of mid-majors in college basketball? I feel like they're a much bigger part than they have been. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, I think that the mid-majors have over the last 5, 6, 7 years have gotten a little bit stronger. I think that the transfer portal is now going to diminish some of that. But I think just in terms of, there being more parity in college basketball, especially over the last 3 seasons, there absolutely has been. But now, when guys are able to leave and transfer without penalties, it's going to make it really hard. Like we're one of only, I think it's 10 or 11 teams in Division I basketball that didn't have a transfer, didn't have a scholarship transfer.
Wow.
And it's unheard of. Like people ask me all the time, Coach, what'd you do? How'd you keep all your guys? And I go, I didn't. I mean, we treat them right. We have fun. We work hard, but like I didn't do anything special. It wasn't like I said, hey, if you have an NIL opportunity and you return, I'm gonna give you 10 grand, or it's not like that kind of stuff. But I just think that you start to look at the way all of this is transpiring in college athletics, and these guys, they're by and large, they tend to leave more than stay. And, I'm happy, I guess. I want them to be happy, but at the same time, I still believe that there's some benefit in, fighting through and making the best of an opportunity, because grass is not always greener.
And that's a lesson that I think everyone has to realize, that the grass is definitely not greener on the other side. It looks that way, but it's a mirage. Hey, one segment that we love that it kind of picks up the humor. So are you on TikTok by any chance?
I have it, but I'm not on it.
I'm a rookie, and I only did it for this podcast.
Okay.
So I am noticing some interesting videos, so to say the least. This one, I believe, is a prank played by a husband on his wife. You got to check this out. Watch the nozzle in the sink next to the wife as she's trying to, I think she's washing dishes. Check this out.
Austin! Austin!
So he put a rubber band on the little nozzle on the sprayer on the side.
Yeah.
So buy or sell that her husband, I'm assuming her husband's name, Austin, slept on the couch for a week.
It sounds like it. Now, my oldest daughter, yesterday, the day before, she told me that she gets her recipes and all kinds of stuff off of TikTok.
Wow.
Because I had another person, a player, tell me, he told me that I should go on there because there's a lot of interesting people who are, oh shoot, what's the word? Like, not self-help, but are motivational speakers and all kinds of stuff like that. He said there's a ton of it. He loves it.
There is that, and because I don't want to sell TikTok as being this all negative, but it's pretty amusing. And I'm going to look for the recipes because I like to cook out. Typical man thing, smoke some things. But there is the comical. There's a lot of comedy relief. There's a lot of people posting videos of traffic stops with cops. So I try to avoid those. I'm tired of hearing it, but hey, to each their own, so to speak. All right, before we wrap it up with some positivity, we got to give a shout out to the guy who sponsors this next segment. His name is Kevin Hutchison.
Hey y'all, Kevin Hutchison here with Realty Austin, and I am grateful to be a part of Stories Inside the Man Cave, a homegrown podcast just like my own business.
Hey man, tell me something good.
All right, Lutzy, tell me something good, brought to you by the guy you just saw. He has been in Austin. He's a lifer. He actually went to Stephen F. Austin for a brief period of time. Been in real estate for well over 2 decades, and now has added the San Antonio market to. He lives down there with his family and knows that area. And as you know, real estate and on the I-35 corridor is outrageously priced, but he'll help those who are wanting to find property in a home. He'll get it done. So with all the negativity that we see, tell me something good in your world, and maybe people should open their eyes and see the beauty of what's going on in this world around us.
Well, it's kind of, I would tell you that it's kind of like the grass is not always greener. Like, I think, and I'm guilty of this just like anybody else, I think that we have to look as a society inwardly and look at our current situation and be more grateful for that. Mm-hmm. And obviously you and I talked about this the other day. Right. I mean, we went to the NCAA tournament. There's people coming left and right with wanting to talk to me about job opportunities. My family's doing great. And then just out of the blue, my wife has a heart attack, and your life can change in a moment's notice from that. And I am the guy that is like almost tunnel visioned on what I have to do. I do enjoy my life. I do enjoy my family, but I I now will absolutely spend more time with them and enjoy that more than I ever have, because, you know, at the end of the day, we all have to be just grateful for what we have and enjoy what we have as much as we can, because you never know what the heck's going to happen in life, man.
That's the
You
truth.
just never do. And so it's given me a tremendous new perspective for me, for my family, and just living, you know, and the old Matthew McConaughey, man, just keep on living, brother. I'm absolutely going to do a whole lot more of that moving forward.
Yeah, I love that. And that is both inspiring, strong, but it is. We need to not get off track and remember that our time here is short. And when you have a lovely wife and a beautiful family like you do and a dream job, all of us have to be thankful for it. But even just existing, and I've got to say something for this. So we are really pouring out our hearts to those in Uvalde, Texas, which is near San Antonio. The tragedy that has happened there. And I was going to open the show before we introduce you. And I just want to say from this podcast, I know there's a lot of people, and I know they mean it, thoughts and prayers. And I'm not going to make this political, but something good out of this. There's nothing really good out of this at all. This is a horrible incident. It's becoming too frequent. I don't know what the problem is. All I know is that I think this needs to be the last tragedy that I hope we experience, and we hold our elected officials accountable at the federal level, that being the senators, elected senators, and our congressmen. Quit making this a political thing and do what's right overall for everybody, whether it's mental health, whether it's you believe it's gun control, whatever it is. But let's do what's right and without losing our freedoms. But let's avoid traumatic things like this. This is absolutely terrible. It's gut-wrenching. I just can't imagine being a parent and experiencing that in elementary schools. Just had a friend tell me that their daughter, they're graduating from high school, so they take them to the elementary school that they came from, and they get to walk the halls while these little elementary school kids are clapping. To look at them, I'm going to be a graduate of that high school one day. And she said it would put it in perspective because it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Looking into those kids' faces. This should never happen, ever. And I don't know what the answer is, because I don't want to voice an opinion and disrespect other people's opinions or let them get the impression that I'm falling one set way or the other. So that's the only thing good, is that we have an opportunity to hold our elected officials accountable and not be political about anything like this.
I hear you, man.
It is. But you know what? Whenever you have Steve Lutz to talk to and you're in his presence, man, life is good.
Oh, you're the best, man. You're the best. Well, this has been fun. Let's do it again sometime.
We will. And for the head coach of the NCAA Tournament appearance having in Texas A&M Corpus Christi Islanders, go visit him. And if you're a young person who can play some hoop and you want to play at that next level, talk to my guy, Steve Lutz, and his staff. They play in a nice arena. You're on the bay. It's beautiful. Go visit it. I need to visit him sometime soon and his lovely family. So for Coach Lutz and the OG Man Cave boys, that being Big Mike, Coach Mo, and Hardball Harge, we are out.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up.